Welcome back. There are 4 weeks to go before the 60th anniversary of the founding of New China on October the 1st. To mark the occasion, CCTV International presents a month-long special series on today's China. In our first episode of China on the Move, Han Bin explains the issues to be covered and the major challenges the country faces.
Renovating the Tiananmen rostrum for National Day. This is where the big celebrations will take place. And big changes have taken place in the past 60 years. China is now one of the world's major economies, and the changes continue as the country grows stronger. The ruling Communist Party is now building the country into what it calls a harmonious society.
Chinese society has a disparity of development resulting in social, economic and cultural differences. There's a gap between the urban and rural areas, eastern and western regions. Because of these differences, conflicts and potential confrontations, China puts forward such a concept to solve the problems.
This series has exceptional access to China. We go to the east for a close look at the Chinese pavilion for the World Expo in the financial hub, Shanghai. We go to the west for religious practices in Xinjiang after the riots in July. We go to the south to see the coral damage as tourism booms in Hainan. We cover the water shortage in northwestern Shanxi. We also show you the reform process in a state-owned factory in northeastern Liaoning, protection for the fragile paintings in Dunhuang, and a democratic management mechanism in a rural village. Above all, we present the people of China in the time of change and challenges.
I think the most important part is
an engineer who returned to do business,
and developing, so you get a lot of opportunity.
A volunteer environmentalist, a campaigner for workers' rights, laid-off women finding new positions in society, and young people with new dreams. China today is much more open to the outside world, and we will see how the country grapples with the complexities of development.
China needs to deepen institutional reforms and improve the overall quality of people. This will make the social development more scientific and harmonious. If the disparity continues to grow, this will affect social stability.
Stability is the top priority for the government in realizing economic prosperity. And it's here, in the far western region of Xinjiang, that recent riots have posed a test for the government's policies. For decades, the central government has invested heavily in the underdeveloped regions. The idea is to balance social interests and create harmony. But confrontations between economic development and social justice, and social development and environmental protection are sharpening. The rapid growth has brought new wealth, but it's been accompanied by a widening gap between the rich and poor. The government has had its hands full increasing agricultural output and farmers' income. All the while, financial crises have cut millions of job opportunities, creating new challenges for the government. Economic growth has drastically increased energy demands, and the environment is paying the price.
If we want to reduce emissions and pollution in China's industrialization, the country should first adjust its industrial structure and increase agriculture and services to reduce the proportion of the heavy chemical industry. At the same time, it has to increase the proportion of renewable energy and increase efficiency.
A harmonious society needs a high degree of democracy. To channel public complaints about social justice, the government is strengthening its anti-corruption campaign and making headway in its legislative work. The country now has over 200 state laws.
Legislation is the representation of the maturity of political system and the process of modernization, as it is one of the key standards of a modern society. This process in the Western countries took 200 to 400 years, but China takes only about 30 years to accomplish this legal process. The direction of our legal work is still scientific democratic legislation to further improve the quality of law and to build a country ruled by law.
China has formed its legal system, but it's a huge work in progress. China cannot be explained in one story. What we have seen is a vigorous country increasingly willing to expose itself to public scrutiny, striving to rejuvenate on world stage. But it's no easy task to govern a country with such a huge and diverse population. And there's still a great deal that must be done before China can be called a truly harmonious society ruled by law. Thank you for joining us for China on the Move. We hope our journeys will give you an insight into what's really going on in today's People's Republic. CCTV, Beijing.